The Tampa Bay Rays are in a weird spot as a franchise after finishing below 500 in 2024. They have a decent set of players and a loaded farm system, but keeping pace in the American League East proved to be difficult for them last season. Now, with the Blue Jays and Red Sox trying to stake their claim, it could leave the Rays, who look like they're in a in-between year, on the outside looking in. However, you can never count out the Rays with their history of development and hidden gem success, and today we will cover all of that and more in the 2025 Tampa Bay Rays season preview. The Rays kicked off their offseason with an intriguing trade, sending Jeffrey Springs to the Athletics in exchange for Joe Boyle, Will Simpson, and Jacob Waters. When Springs has been on the field for the Rays, he has been incredible, posting a 2.63 ERA across his 4 seasons with the club. However, during that time, he was only able to appear in 86 games, and with this price tag jumping up to over $10 million a season, it was not a risk worthwhile for the Rays, who have no shortage of exciting pitching. Then, for what they got back, Boyle is the headliner of the return, having MLB experience and having some quirks that make him seem like another one of these "how did the Rays get this guy" sort of player. Boyle is excellent at avoiding barrels and getting a good amount of swing and miss and strikeouts. However, Boyle is also excellent at missing the zone, leading to a very high walk rate and low chase rate. This is a serious bullpen candidate long term, with the Rays, will keep his lane as a starter open. For the rest of the offseason, the Rays signed a few intriguing names in the form of Ha-Seong Kim, Danny Jansen, Eloy Jimenez. Jansen and Jimenez are looking to bounce back under the Rays' tutelage, whereas Kim is looking to continue to build off a strong career after he returns from injury. All the players should bridge the gap to the next era of Rays baseball and will likely be trade candidates at the deadline. For losses outside of Springs, the Rays moved on from Jose Siri in a deal with the Mets and then non-tendered Colin Pache, Tyler Alexander, Richard Lovelady, and Dylan Carlson. Of those names, Siri is the most impactful on the surface, as he is a Gold Glove level defender who does get a fair share of barrels. Anyone who can sit in the 99th percentile of outs above average while slugging 18 homers has some inherent value, even if there is some inconsistency to his offensive game. For the Rays, he became an expendable player because of their depth at the position, and from the value they were getting, he is a replaceable player. That brings the current projected opening day roster to Danny Jansen behind the dish, Yandy Diaz at first, Brandon Lau at second, Taylor Walls at short, Junior Caminero at third, Christopher Morel in left, Johnny DeLuca in center, and Josh Lau in right, with Jonathan Aranda sharing the DH role with Eloy Jimenez. As you can see from the Zips projections, catcher is the only true weakness of the roster, while the right side of the infield are supposed to produce admirably. The rotation is currently projected as Shane McClanahan back from injury, followed by Taj Bradley, Ryan Pepio, Zach Little, Shane Baz, and Drew Rasmussen. The unit isn't loved by the projections, with only Rasmussen and McClanahan to finish below a 4 ERA, but this unit does have some sneaky good arms that can do damage. Overall, Zips projects the unit to finish with the 17th most value added in baseball, with the bullpen anticipated to struggle, finishing 25th. However, it's important to note that the Rays always build a good bullpen. For players who can break past the projections, we have to start with Jonathan Aranda, who across his career has been less than spectacular with a career 97 OPS plus. However, with a full-time role looming and an excellent baseball savant page, there's a lot of reasons to like the left-handed bat. Aranda did much better in terms of strikeouts and getting barrels last season, not to mention he was lifting the ball more than ever, which resulted in an ex-Woba sandwich between players like Austin Riley and Jurickson Profar. Being in a platoon will allow Aranda to continue to crush righties and provide great value to the Rays, especially if Jimenez can hold up his end of the bargain. And then there is the former top prospect himself, Junior Caminero, who'd lost his prospect status last season. Caminero has yet to really put on display the reputation that follows him as a mashing third baseman. Across his 4 minor league seasons, he casually posted a 921 OPS with 67 homers and 282 games played. He has some really impressive exit velocities and just looks like a player ready to pop. With a full-time role expected for the 2025 Rays, Caminero should have every opportunity to become not only an impactful player, but someone who can become one of the game's premier names in 2025. And then there is Shane Baz, who used 2024 to build back from his Tommy John surgery. Most of the time, with that sort of timeline where a pitcher comes back mid-season, he still might not be all the way back in terms of comfortability on the mound and with his pitches. And despite that, Baz was able to produce a 3.06 ERA across his 14 starts. However, Zips projects Boz to take a massive step back, but the ingredients are there for the righty to defy expectations and be a plus pitcher once again. For prospects who can make their impact on the Major League roster, we have to start with the Rays' top prospect and the ninth-ranked prospect in all of baseball, Carson Williams, who will likely arrive to the majors later in the season. What makes Williams so special is that he has the makeup of a five-tool prospect from the shortstop position. We already know he has 4 of the 5, winning a minor league gold glove because of that 70 grade fielding and arm. He also has a plus run grade and a plus power grade, hitting 62 homers across the last 3 seasons. There are some concerns about how much he will swings and misses, but that is linked to the decisions more so than the mechanics, and he has been improving that side of his game as he has progressed upwards. There's so much to like with the Rays' future shortstop, and he will likely be an exciting addition to the second half Rays roster. Another fun addition to the second half Rays would be Chandler Simpson, who, if you've not already heard, is one of the most intriguing prospects in all of baseball. Simpson breaks the grading scale in two regards with his lack of power and blazing speed. If the scale allowed it, he would probably be the first 10 and 90 guy in those regards. Simpson makes his names on the base paths, being the fastest runner in all of baseball, major leagues included, which allows him to turn infield choppers into singles and then into a double or triple the pitch after. He isn't a natural center fielder, but his speed allows for him to cover up his deficiencies, and he makes one of the most intriguing prospects in recent memory. If everything does go awry before the deadline, the Rays do have quite a few choices to make before that respective deadline. Zach Little is going to be a free agent, so you imagine he gets moved, but then the team has club options over Danny Jansen, Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lau, Pete Fairbanks, Taylor Walls, with Ha-Seong Kim in control of a $16 million player option. One of either Lau or Kim would likely to be moved. Ideally for the Rays, it would be Kim, as you can choose to decline his option in the offseason, and if he does choose to stay, it would be the bigger cap hit of the two players. Jansen would probably stay just because it's hard to move off catchers at the deadline. Diaz would likely stay as his price tag isn't too high for the production. Burbank's current tag would be for $7 million in 2026, but there are a lot of incentives he could hit to move that number further up, and if he still is in a spot to hit them, the Rays will likely maximize his value and move on from him. And with Walls, he'll likely stay. But again, this only comes up if the Rays are in a rough spot at the deadline. For injuries affecting the team, we had the prize signing of the offseason in Ha-Seong Kim, who is currently dealing with the shoulder injury he suffered late last year. He should return sometime in May, so it's not the most impactful. Whereas Nate Lavender, who the Rays grabbed from the Mets in the Rule 5 draft, Lavender is returning from Tommy John surgery and should return sometime in the middle to later half of the season. And that brings us to the final predictions of the team. Of the teams so far in the series, the Rays have one of the smallest ranges of possibilities, with their lowest of lows being the 74 win mark. There is a world where this team fully overhauls the roster at the deadline, and some of the players they're hoping to pan out just don't. However, it's the Rays, and because of their history of developing and finding good players, their ceiling is as a potential wildcard team at 86 and 76. And then you have the likely mixed bag with some good and some bad. This team overall should be better than the roster that finished the season last year. However, they didn't make the same sort of upwards progress that the rest of the non playoff teams did within the division. And against my better judgment, the Rays will be regressing slightly to 79 and 83. Where do you guys have the Rays finishing? Comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. And of course, have a great day.